Welcome to the Fireside Chat for Fitness and Nutrition with Adrienne and Ken. Today we're going to be talking about rotator cuff strengthening and shouldering responsibility for our actions. Ken, would you like to kick off our shoulder strength?
Yes, I would. And today we're going to specifically be focused on the external rotators. So things that move your shoulder in an external way. So not things, but the muscles that work your shoulders externally. And I'm talking about specifically the teres minor and the infraspinatus. And they're the muscles that, if you think about it, they're the ones that when you're throwing a ball, they're the ones that after you let go, they're the ones that slow your shoulder down after you let go of the, or if you do a serve, they're the ones that slow your shoulder down. So it's important that you have strong rotator cuff muscles. Let me preface it by saying what rotator cuffs are. There are four muscles. There are two in the back, one in the front and one on top. The two in the back, teres minor, infraspinatus, which I just mentioned before. One in the front, subscapularis, and the one on the top is the supraspinatus. Okay, but we're going to be talking about the ones in the back. Now, here is your shoulder cuff, and here is your end of your humerus, and it goes in the center of your shoulder joint. Okay, the rotator cuff's job is to keep the center of your arm in that center of the cup, no matter how you move your arm. Okay, so if you move your arm up, it doesn't. It counteracts the one of the muscles, or all the muscles, some of them counteract it smishing up to the top of your shoulder joint, pinching off nerves and tendons and so forth, and so forth. So if you go forward, it prevents it from going back. If you go back, it prevents it from going forward. So it just counteracts the larger muscles that act on your arm and shoulder. So now that we've talked about what rotator cuffs are, we're going to specifically again be talking about the ones in the back. And I'm going to be showing you three things. I'm going to be showing you a release to release the tight muscles. And that could be caused by adhesions or trigger points. And then I'm going to be showing you an exercise to strengthen those particular muscles, and then a stretch to improve range of motion and improve flexibility. So the first is going to be a release. Let me tilt this camera down. And what you'll do is you'll take, first off, you'll put something underneath your head, maybe a pillow or something for support of your spine, because you want your spine in neutral position. You don't want your head on one shoulder. And you're going to then take a lacrosse ball or a hard ball or a tennis ball. Tennis ball kind of works. It does work, but if you have a if you have a slippery floor, it'll just slide out. The cross balls are kind of sticky. You could do it even up against the wall too. A tennis ball tends to slide everywhere, so this is kind of sticky. So what you'll do is you'll place it underneath your arm, in the kind of the armpit in the back, so where your arm meets the shoulder, but right there in the back, and you're just going to go roll up onto it and place your head on, and your arm is over your head. Place your head on the foam roller. And what you're going to do is you're going to find a tender spot that is an intensity of between 5 and 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. And you're just going to hold it there until that intensity goes down below a level 5. And as soon as that does go below a level 5, then you'll find a new spot, because more than likely there's going to be more than one spot that is tender. And you'll hold that for about 2 minutes. So, one spot, it may be 30 seconds, maybe you'll find another spot, maybe it'll be a minute, but you'll do a total of 2 minutes. And that's going to release any problems with the shoulder that's holding back range of motion or holding back its ability to contract. Okay, so once you've done that, then we're going to do an exercise. So the exercise will be with an elastic band or a monster band. And what you'll do is you'll get it with an underhand grip, you grab it with an underhand grip, and it's going to be the grip will be about shoulder width, right here like this. And you're going to first off pinch your elbows to your side, Okay, that'll take out what's called the supraspinatus, the one on the top. You won't be able to use that. So pinch the elbows into your side. Then you're going to slide your elbows slightly forward. Okay, so that'll help take out the rear deltoids, the big muscle in the back of the shoulder that covers the rotators. So pinch your shoulder blades down, pinch them together, and then slide your elbows slightly forward. So here's the midline of the body, slightly forward of that. Then once that's in place, you just go ahead and out and hold. And you remember we talked about, well, we had talked about tempo, where it's a long tempo is is over 5 seconds. So this is going to be a long tempo because you want to strengthen the end range of motion. So it's going to be, go out and going to hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, then relax for 2, 1, 2, then out, 4, 3, 2, 1, then relax for 2, 1, 2. And you don't want to go so far that this bows. So keep slight tension on the elastic band the whole time. Okay, so that's the strengthening. And you want to do between 12 and 20 repetitions because they're a relatively smaller muscle group and you're trying to activate them, trying to strengthen them by activating them. Okay. Now a stretch, we're going to go back down to the floor. The stretch specifically for those particular muscles looks like this. You'll be on your back, something underneath your head, again, like a pillow or a foam roller or something like that. What you'll do is you're going to kind of pinch your shoulder blades back and down. So kind of pinch them together, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and take your hand, the top hand, and then press down on the shoulder that you're stretching. So it'll be like this. And you'll feel that it'll be a really strong stretch in those external rotator muscles. Now, I'm a little tight because what you want to be able to do is with my fingers bent, my wrist and fingers bent, you want to be able to touch the tips of your fingers to the floor, or about a 70-degree range of motion. Okay, so I'm probably at maybe 45, maybe 50. So you should be able to go down further and touch the floor. And hold this for 30 seconds or so, 30 seconds to a minute. Don't press real hard because those muscles are kind of tight, but they're kind of small. And they're not like really big hamstring muscles or the buttock muscles. They're really delicate and they're really small. So you want to just, really with just the weight of this hand, press down and just hold. Now, if you feel some tightness in the top of your shoulder, like right here, then what I recommend is just lower the elbow down and then you can kind of press down. So what that's doing is it's taking it out of the shoulder, or the humerus pushing up against the top of the shoulder joint if you lower the elbow. And that's perfectly fine. So if you're right up here and you feel it more in the top than in the back, then just lower your elbow down, and that'll take it out, and you'll still feel it in the space, in the space that you're supposed to feel it. So do you have any questions? So there's a release, an activation or strength, and a stretch for the external rotators of the shoulder.
Is there anybody in particular who should do this, or is it just good for all of us to do these things on what kind of basis maybe?
Well, that's a very good question. It wouldn't hurt for everyone to do it, particularly, but if you're an athlete or if you're involved in sports and overhead sports, throwing, racket sports, it's really good for those people. But we're all forward. We all, not all, but most of us, because we live in a society where everything is forward, where we're driving, where we're typing, we're hunched forward. The shoulders tend to slide forward, and when that does, it tightens up the external rotators. You wouldn't think so, because you would think that if it slid forward, that they'd be longer, but it's not the case. When the shoulder girdle slides forward, it doesn't allow good stability for the shoulder joint itself. And the shoulder joint, the arm in the socket tends to slide forward. So I would say do that test, and the stretch test. If you can touch the floor, that's a good sign that it's flexible, but it may not be strong. And if you have shoulder problems, I can guarantee you that those are, if there's pain in your shoulder, or if you reach up and it's like, oh God, that kind kind of hurts a little bit, or it doesn't feel, one side feels a little bit worse than the other side, you probably have weak external rotators. So target those, do those 3 things, and you'll be set. And you could do them every other day, which would be good.
Every other day? Okay.
Yeah.
I had another question. So would this help with posture, and are there other benefits that people would just see from doing this every other day, perhaps? Like,
well, other than, well, you get rid of pain, and it does help with posture. It does. Of course it does, because you're externally rotating, so you're pulling those shoulders back, and so it helps with lifting if you're a lifter as well. Keeping the arm, the humerus in the center of the socket is really important, so you don't pinch anything and have shoulder pain. So I guess does that answer your question? Right?
Yeah. So anybody who has shoulder pain or who wants to help prevent it and also have better posture, do these exercises every other day, right?
Correct. That's right.
And now we're going to shift over into shouldering responsibility. See what we did for our health and our actions, or sometimes our inactions. And I always like to start off with a question that one of my friends would ask me. She would listen to a person's problems and then say, "Are you ready for some tough love?" And either the person would brace for it, or be like, "Nah, it's okay. I don't really, care to know about what I could be doing differently." And sometimes the same thing, it happens in our health. So sometimes we are not ready to hear the hard truths of a situation. We're not ready to see our blood work come back with a high A1C, or to even have high blood pressure numbers. And sadly, but also not so sad, the CDC has actually listed the top causes of death in the United States to include things that are actually preventable chronic diseases like heart disease, cancer, diabetes. So those are some things to definitely think like we can actually do something about this. We can't really change like accidents or unintentional injuries, but we do have a decent amount of control through our lifestyle and our physical activity, our food, whether we smoke or not. All of that doesn't really leave us with much of an excuse. And here's the other thing: genes play a role, but they are not set in stone. It's called epigenetics. Basically, you can have your genes turn on or off with physical activity, getting enough sleep, stress, and eating well. And unfortunately, a lot of us are still kind of outsourcing our responsibility for our health to doctors or pills and surgeries without actually asking how we can take ownership of the only house that we're going to have the rest of our lives, our bodies. It's kind of like going to a mechanic when there's something wrong with your car and then finding out the problems that you're paying for now exist because you had neglected to do the proper maintenance for years. And like, we all have the best of intentions, right? It's like, but it just never got done. We didn't check the fluids. We didn't make sure that whatever got done. And so the mechanic will do the repairs and you pay for them. But if you keep essentially mistreating the car by giving it the wrong fuel and neglecting the signs and symptoms of an issue before they become full blown, it's like, well, who's at fault? Is it, the mechanic who's responsible for taking care of our cars, or is it the car's owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a pretty truth at all, because we humans are very good at giving advice to others, and we can, tell people how to parent better or how to fix their financial situation or their relationships. But a lot of times it's like, do we even take our own advice? There can be a disconnect between knowing what we're supposed to do and actually taking the action, which is what I'm encouraging everybody to do. So just like thinking about how our cars, they're replaceable, but our bodies are the only vehicle that we're going to have to take us through the rest of our lives. And many of us are skipping over the boring, although it's simple, maintenance of just consistently eating right, doing activities, making sure we get enough sleep. And that's, it's not sexy. It's so simple, and it's what will win the game. But so many of us are like, oh, what's that superfood that I can have? Or this new news article or something I saw on Facebook, like, what's the miracle cure? So like I said, it's simple. It's not necessarily easy to do though sometimes. When you think about the reality of what I just said, though, about like our bodies being the one car that will take us through the rest of our life, sometimes we can feel a little bit unsettled and even kind of angry because we've been outsourcing our responsibility. And now it's like, oh man, I have this thing, and now what? And if you feel stuck and unsure of where to try to make health improvements, you're not alone. A lot of times it can be overwhelming. And sometimes the temptation is like, I'll deal with this tomorrow. Let me just go eat some ice cream today. I just need a little bit of distraction. I'm going to go, watch a streaming service. And we avoid the truth because the truth requires us to change, right? And so what we want to do is not allow denial or distracting to be a part, but just realize that once we have the awareness that we are responsible for our bodies, to start taking one step where we can say, all right, what can I do for the preventative maintenance of my vehicle today, at my next meal, this afternoon? And that's what what's going to help us to avoid, the train that's coming down the tracks while we're playing on it. Oh, I don't have diabetes yet, so I don't have to worry about it. Actually, that reminds me, I had a client who came in with type 2 diabetes, and the client had acknowledged for years that they had blood sugar issues and they had a family history of this, but because they hadn't had diabetes yet, they continued to eat a bunch of sweets as they pleased. And so that's the problem, right? We see the train is coming, but it's so far down that we're like, I can continue to do what I want. I'm not in any danger. But the reality is that the empowerment starts when you face the reality of your situation. And so if you gained an extra 25 pounds and it's negatively affecting your health and life, just acknowledge that truth first. Like, I know that this is not helping me. So for those of you watching, what's a health issue that you are tolerating right now? Maybe the beginnings of possibly something that could get worse. What area of your wellness circle maybe are you reluctant to shine a light on? For some people, that could be mental health, trauma, therapy. It could be not sleeping right. It could be high lab values, high cholesterol, poor sleep, loneliness, anything. 2 steps here. It's important to leave denial and step into reality and just have the courage to tell the truth. Like, yes, I've gained this weight, or I have been staying up too late playing video games, whatever the case is. Then you want to gather support, because it can be very overwhelming to take on that ownership and then not know where to start. So get emotional and practical support to help you as you start processing your feelings, as you start figuring out the path you want to go. And this could include your teammates, like your doctor, a therapist, or a registered dietitian nutritionist. Hi. Remember that you can't outsource your health. It's important to take that on, shoulder it, but don't let it weigh you down, and find people to help guide you on your journey. And just take responsibility and do something today, just a little something. Any questions?
I do have a question. What other cancers besides lung cancer, are caused by the things that we eat or things that we don't do? Like, I know that lung cancer can be caused by smoking, but what other cancers are preventable that we know of, that you know of?
I think most of them, probably even leukemia, although I feel like that has more roots in exposure to certain chemicals or radiation. But I think, yeah, it's like even people who've been exposed at Chernobyl or the surrounding areas, like it doesn't necessarily that anybody who's been through that is going to necessarily get cancer. It's usually our genes, the environment, and then also a trigger. So sometimes if we have trauma on top of these things, we can have that. Or if we're eating the standard American diet, which is high in saturated fats, low in fiber, low in nutrients that help us prevent these things. Yeah, it's not surefire, but just knowing that nutrition and our lifestyle play a huge role should give us a sense of control, but not everything can be prevented with nutrition and lifestyle. Just most of it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Good.
Well, if you guys have any questions about today's episode, please put it into the chat. Also, feel free to like and subscribe. And as we always say, Ken?
Consistency, Adrienne.
One thing at a time. And we'll look forward to talking with you next time. All right, take care, everyone.
Bye.
We have a 90-day VIP program, and this is all about knee surgery prep and recovery. So we want to make sure that you have the best outcomes by having your own virtual personal trainer and your own dietitian nutritionist who's going to help coach you. So by integrating these services that we're going to offer with your doctor's care, you will have a lot of potential benefits, including customized diet and exercise plans to help you get ready for the surgery, and then afterwards the surgery, dealing with things like inflammation or limited mobility and how to get that strength back into the knee, for example, and the muscles surrounding it. We can also help create routines that focus on strengthening certain specific muscles, like I said, reducing inflammation and excess weight to help your knees not be so stressed out. And we're also going to improve flexibility and enhance your overall health. What else we're going to do, Ken?
Well, yeah, you said a lot. That's good. Injury prevention and rehabilitation for sure. You know, if you're getting scheduled for knee replacement, let's just say, you want to strengthen those muscles around the joint so that it's easier for you to recover. So the stronger the muscle is before you go in, the easier it is to rehabilitate that because it's already programmed. It's already programmed in the muscle and the nerves and so forth. So it's a good thing. You want that. Your muscles want that. They desire that, and the rehabilitation will be so much easier. And with a trainer specifically, you know, we can guide you. I can guide you through the proper form and techniques in reducing your risk of further injury as well. So, what else you got, Adrienne?
Another great benefit of this program is that we do everything virtually, so you can get your virtual health coaching and your virtual personal training, so that you can do it from home, from your couch. You know,
don't have to go anywhere.
You.
Don't have to go anywhere for sure. Yeah, that leads into motivation and accountability. So you know, we provide personal one-on-one, you know, motivation and support, and regular check-ins, and we track your progress and set you up with goals and make sure that you're on track and making the progress that you need to make in order to go forward.
And a key part of this is that it's holistic too. So there's a difference between going to our doctors or orthopedic surgeons and, you know, getting news that we're going to get a surgery, and then just kind of like prepping in terms of having some meals made or people to kind of help out. But what you really want is to have this combined dietary part and this personal training part along with your doctor, so that you have all three on your team. And by doing this, clients can have better posture, they can lose weight, reduce inflammation and pain, have increased strength and overall well-being. So you are like hitting the ground running. Well, so you're prepping, you get the surgery, and then you're done and you have support to just get on with the rest of your life. So right. I think it's a great program.
I do too.
And it's only $14.97 for the whole 90-day program. And it includes one-on-one support with your nutrition coach and also your personal trainer. You'll get 9 sessions total. And we are here to help you thrive.
Yes, we are.